there was a transition between me like gigging it and me starting my business. The number one thing was getting an LLC and like literally starting a business. And people come to me all the time like for advice on how to start a business, and I'm always like, well, do you have an LLC? You can't start a business without a literal business formation.
What's up, everybody? Mejire Arijaje. Welcome back to Beyond the Brand, where we bring you real conversations with the minds behind the businesses, brands, and creative movements in the industry today. Today, I'm sitting down with someone who knows how to make brands stand out, not just online, but in real life. Today, I'm here with Deborah Charmelus. She's amazing when it comes to cultural strategy, digital marketing, and event production. She's the founder of Kontan Cultural Strategies and has worked with brands, artists, and organizations to make impact-driven events and digital experiences. If you're looking to elevate your brand, master storytelling, or build a community around your work, you need to listen to this. Deborah, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I love that.
No problem. And for those of you who might not be familiar, can you please tell them about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Deborah Charmelus. I am the founder and lead cultural strategist of Kontan Cultural Strategies. We essentially work with arts and culture organizations to, elevate their impact. So for us, that means bringing in artists, typically through creative project management or event planning, so that way these organizations can truly connect to the community in a way that feels authentic.
That's amazing. And how did you get started in that? What made you, get into that?
Oh, well, I, like most people in their early 20s, had no idea what I wanted to do. I was working at a nonprofit doing program management, and that was a really incredible space for me. I learned a ton of skills, became truly a multidisciplinary manager, and then I decided to move to Asia. I moved to Malaysia to teach English at a university, and that was really incredible. I could go on about that, but I just met a bunch of amazing people, and it really expanded my worldview and honestly made me think about whether or not I wanted to kind of go the nonprofit route. When I came back, I didn't have a plan. My parents were in my ear every day, being like, you got a degree for nothing, you're just sitting on our couch. And I just started to pick up gigs here and there. I was managing my brother's band. So that's really how it started. And then I went from, managing a couple of other bands to doing social media. I still love social media and digital marketing as a way to promote a small business. And I even taught a digital marketing course. But as, time went on, I just realized that I was really more driven to creating projects. I love the idea of having an idea and then making it a tangible thing that folks experience. So that's when I started to do a little bit of production, and that really became my niche. And more specifically, working with arts and culture organizations became my niche. So it's been 7 years of me running my business, which is, it's kind of hard to believe, but I absolutely love it. And, even though like every entrepreneur, I'm look at Indeed every once in a while, like, I'm gonna quit this. I really always come back, between the flexibility and the ability to just kind of create my own project load. There's really nothing like it.
Yeah, that's a lot. So there's a lot to unpack there. So before we move forward, and just talk a little bit more about, what you do and, how you do it. So you said you were in Malaysia for a little bit.
Yeah.
And you also managed the band. So if you want to talk a little bit more about those experiences and how those helped you out, especially in Malaysia, tell me a story about Malaysia. What happened there? Is there anything that interesting?
Too much. Oh my gosh. So Malaysia was the first time I fasted for an extended period of time. So I was able to participate in Ramadan, and my fiance and I were just talking, and it's such a special month here. I think when people who haven't experienced it look into it, they're like, oh, it's so strict, but you recognize at the time, it's a month of really convening and getting people together. So that's been on my mind a lot, and that kind of like commitment to not only discipline but community has been on my mind. And I think things like that definitely shaped me. I was always, something I noticed about my time in Malaysia was, even though I didn't have any obligation to, because I was like just an English teacher, or an English professor I should say, I even though I didn't have any obligation to, I was always like bringing people together, planning like the English conversation hours and things like that. So I just realized, you know, I was always gonna build community, even if it wasn't mandatory for me, you know?
Yeah. And I guess that's how you did too. I mean, with the band as well, because, you know, building the band, getting the band to follow like a small indie.
Oh my gosh, managing a band definitely taught me a lot about patience and like how to communicate important ideas to different people, because I'm coming in with like the logistical side of it all. Like, okay, we need to make sure we're packed, we need to do this, we need to promote the music in a certain way, and they're coming in and they're just like, we're artists, you know? So I learned how to kind of communicate and, you know, be able to, you know, set timelines and, you know, share why, not only like that something needs to get done, but why it needs to get done. But also managing the band gave me so many connections that I still like benefit from to this day. And, you know, I've always believed that like when you do anything, you should do it really well. So I would have never thought that like me just having fun, you know, with this like rock band would be the thing that got me like thousands of dollars in client work in the future. But, you know, I think that like it's just important for us to just, when you commit to something, do it well. And that really has like helped me build my business. You know?
And I also think it's also just like a testament of, you know, networking and building that connection, and also just staying in touch with people, right? I think what we met, I don't know how long we met now, like 3-4 years ago, and you know, we was always just kind of just stay connected. We did so work together as well, so you know, it's the same thing there. It's like, and I don't even think we met at like a formal like,
no, we met at a walk,
something like that, and we were like, you know, let's stay connected and you know, continue to work with together. So just always a testament of networking and building, you know, connections wherever you are, because you just never know what they might lead to, right?
Definitely. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, I think networking, they say that most people find their jobs through networking, so it's not even worth it to apply online anymore. So, you know, it's just something to always keep in mind. And for me, networking isn't necessarily like, I think a lot of people go to networking events and they're like, what can you do for me? And really networking is not like that. It's just being chill, being like a little bit open, and also telling people what you need, but not expecting them to give it to you immediately, you know?
So let's talk a little bit more about Kontan Cultural Strategies. When did you realize that you had to start this, and what was the biggest gap that you saw in the branding and marketing space that led you to, you know, hey, I want to...
That's a really great question. There was a transition between me like gigging it and me starting my business. The number one thing was getting an LLC and like literally starting a business. And people come to me all the time like for advice on how to start a business, and I'm always like, well, do you have an LLC? You can't start a business without a literal business formation. But I think that was the first kind of like, okay, I need to get it together. And then I would say the mindset shift was, you know, I heard a lot of people saying like, you need a niche, and I didn't really know what that meant. And I didn't really also want to limit myself to one service. And then eventually just over time, I just started to realize like, hey, I work a lot better when I feel like the work I'm doing has a purpose, you know, and I'm actually serving the community. You know, I'm from Philly, so I want to do things that actually serve people who are like working class from Philadelphia. And once I realized that, that's when I kind of was like, okay, there is an opportunity to like specifically, bridge that gap, work in community engagement, work to also highlight artists as well. Like a lot of people in the nonprofit space, even if they work in arts and culture, surprisingly enough, don't know a ton of artists. And I know a lot of artists. So even that is like a service that knowing people, I never thought would be like a service, but it really is a service. So that's kind of, I just started paying attention not only to like what was needed, but really what I liked and what I felt like I could do really well.
And what do you think the biggest lessons you've learned from like trying to build credibility as you're trying to grow as a creative entrepreneur?
I know it is so hard. There's so many lessons to learn. You say specifically credibility, and something that comes to mind is, I think a lot of people end their relationships with their clients and they're just like, all right, that's it. But, I try to do surveys, I try to do a debrief meeting, and really importantly, I try to get testimonials. So I really try to get people who can say, yeah, like that was a really great experience. And I think if not for anything, it makes them reflect upon their experience with me and, share ways I could have improved, but also,
that feedback.
Yeah, and it sets into their mind like, okay, that was a good experience. I'm going to reach out to her in the future because I was able to clearly articulate that it was a good experience before moving on,
Yeah, and especially like, when you get that bad feedback, it's like, okay, I have something to work with to, make me better at my craft. It's not really like a negative thing. You're not trying to, tear you down. It's just
exactly.
Trying to be constructive for how you can, do better.
And usually you as the service provider, when you messed up. Like, we've all messed up. Like, when you messed up. But most of the time, you don't mess up that badly. So it's like bad feedback isn't really even bad feedback. It's just ways to improve and be more efficient, you know?
For sure. So your work blends digital marketing, event production, and cultural strategy. When did you realize that these elements, were the key to like building an impactful brand?
Yeah. So I don't think everyone needs, I know some people who run successful businesses and don't have an Instagram and don't have a Facebook. So, I don't necessarily think people need digital marketing, but I do think everybody needs some sort of marketing, whether you decide that the way you market is like face to face or in a completely different way. But I think for me, it's about storytelling. I use my online platform to basically highlight stories of Black entrepreneurs, Black small businesses, Black art. So I really enjoy that. I actually do enjoy making, like, I feel like you do too. Like, I actually enjoy the process of like making Instagram videos. It's fun. It's just like a hobby. And I think people take it like, I tell people, especially when I'm doing consulting for digital marketing, I'm like, don't commit to something that you can't do. Don't commit to something that you don't want to do. Find what you like. So if you don't like making Instagram videos, maybe you would prefer to have a email marketing campaign, so find what you like and what you'll commit to and do that.
That answers the question, because I was going to kind of lead up to that and ask you, especially when you said that, you don't really need a Instagram page or digital marketing to be successful, because people do run successful business outside. And for me, it's like, it's kind of like the same thing with us. It's like my business has been around for close to 20 years now because it's family business. But, I didn't really start taking social media seriously up until like a year and a half ago for the business. And that's when kind of like things are like, oh, there's like a whole different world out here that doesn't even know that we exist. And I'm thinking like, oh, everybody knows us in the city. Like,
like, I mean, a lot of people know
like,
y'all.
What are you talking about? But like, then you go online, it's like, oh, we never heard of you. It's like, oh, wow. So it's like, so how do you think people can build a community outside of social media as well? If they're like, hey, I don't want to commit to doing postings every single day.
Well, something I'm thinking of when I think about your business is like the fact that y'all like wrap your trucks. And I'm before I even met you, I've seen your trucks driving around. So that's like an example of something that's not a digital marketing way to build community. But I would say, I'm always watching videos obviously on how to like increase like my business development. One video was like, you can spend time doing cold outreach and that is really beneficial for people. And if you have the capacity to do it, totally do it. But, you know, the number one way to get business is if you could get repeat business and if you could get referral business.
Yeah.
And that just always stuck with me because, and I try to ask my clients to refer me, you know? So I think, you know, if you're not going the digital marketing route, you still need to be creative, you know, like ask your clients to refer you, maybe create a referral network plan, or, you know, if you're not going to be, do digital marketing, make sure that you're at every single event that relates to your industry, networking, getting face value and things like that. So, you know, there's no one path, but if you're going to do a path, like stick to it.
Yeah, it's when a client reaches out to you, so how do you go about, you know, starting that process of figuring out, you know, what type of event they're, what that event looks like for them?
Yeah, I would love if my clients came to me as early as possible and we took a time and I did a survey and I entered, but most of the time that's not happening. They're like coming to me, you know, a few months before the event, and they're like, you know, after they, and it's something I respect. Like a lot of my clients don't come to me until they're ready to begin, and that's something I want, you know. But you know, usually that means that they have to get approval, and that takes a little while. So it might be a little bit last minute that they're coming to me, but I still try to do my due diligence. I think it's really nice to have a theme or like a goal that you're working towards. So even if there's not, like, you know, for instance, I have an event that I typically plan every year and the theme is prom, and that's super easy and like super straightforward. But a client might come to me for a community engagement event, and you know, there I'm just trying to figure out the purpose. Like, are you trying to interview as many people as possible for a project? Is this like a celebration to celebrate the community? Is this to get people through the door of your organization? Once we figure out that purpose, then I can kind of begin to plan. And then some other things that come to mind when it comes to like planning experiences is just the space. Is it an open space? Is it a contained space? How do we get people to flow the way that we want them to flow? You know, the entertainment as well. Like, you want to make sure you have something appropriate but still fits the energy level of people's expectations. So I mean, a bunch of things run through my mind at any given moment when I begin to plan. But truly, I just want, you know, I think it's really important to set a clear goal at the beginning, because, you know, at the end, you may not have liked the way I went about it, but if I got you to your goal, then, you know, we're at the goal, you know?
The way you balance like storytelling and what the business is asking for, you know, do you find that typically tough to kind of like go about getting that out of business? Like, hey, I want to go this particular direction. You're like, oh no, like maybe you should go this direction. How's that whole process?
Like, so, you know, sometimes I just let the client do what they want. And it's like, not even in a way that like I'm rolling my eyes and telling them to do what they want. But I think sometimes, you know, obviously I'm coming in with my knowledge and I really believe in myself as an expert in this field, but they're an expert in their own field. So maybe they have stakeholders that I don't even know about that want something, you know? So yeah, of course, I'll always share why I believe something should go a certain direction, but I will also like leave room for me to learn and for me to make adjustments.
And do you think you tend to kind of like approach event planning in the same way for each organization, or it's kind of
definitely different from organization to organization, and from what they're asking for me as well? I've been really lucky that a lot of my clients recently have come to me specifically because I uplift Black artists, and you know, they're like, you know, we want something blackity black, and that's awesome, because then I could get my homies in. I could do things like hit up a Black-owned printing service and say that like I got this many thousands of dollars into the hands of Black businesses. But you know, each business is definitely completely different because their mission is completely different, and you know, the level of specificity that they might want from me will be different. So I try to, you know, take it as is. In terms of like audience and, you know, scale, definitely I try to think about, programming when it comes to audience and scale. I'm like, what is the group actually going to be doing when they show up that day? And that's where I see like the most like differentiation in, you know, a small intimate gathering and a large gathering. They're gonna be coming in with different expectations and like fulfilling different actions, you know.
I know you throw an event called Cattle Marketplace, correct?
Yeah.
So, you know, if you want to talk a little bit about that as well, and you know, and then also talk about, you know, what's the largest event you ever just kind of put together, because that's a pretty big event as well.
So Kato is pretty big. The largest event I ever produced was like a 5,000 person festival. So that was pretty cool. That's not typically, I would say most of my events range between like 75 to like 300 some people. That's kind of the sweet spot that usually people reach out to me for. But I also do intimate like corporate gatherings as well. And you know, those will be less than 20 people. But for Kato is really special. It's an all black makers marketplace that I produce underneath my business. It's been going for nearly 5 years now. We typically host them twice a year at a black historical spot. So that usually has around 200 to 300 people coming in as audience members. And that is really, it's interesting because on one hand I'm producing it, but the production isn't what requires my attention. It's the marketing that requires a lot of my attention, because I want to make sure my vendors sell stuff and make money. So that means that I'm like doing digital marketing. I'm literally, you know, when it's Kato season, I have a stack of flyers and everywhere I go, I'm like handing them out to people that I'm meeting. So that's cool because it just is like a different part of my brain that is activating.
So let's talk a little bit more about that, those strategies that you're using, because essentially it's still a small business strategy, right? So, you know, brands, you know, they're looking to throw events that are great and they want to create immersive experience of them as well. So how can small businesses kind of tap into that and create a strategy for a huge event like that without a huge budget? Especially, you know, you have the experience with throwing cattle, so I'm sure you'd be able to speak more on that.
I know, that's a great example, because when I'm working with my clients, I'm typically resourced to a degree. You know, I'm not going to work for free and they're not throwing the event for free, but with Kato it's all out of pocket. So I do have to be a little bit more creative. So the number one thing I could recommend to folks who are maybe have limited resources is just partnerships. Well, actually, let me go back a little bit, is starting early. You know, it's always going to be more expensive the later you start, because just for rush fees, maybe because you're making mistakes and not thinking straight. So I would say the earlier you start, the more money you're going to save just off for it. And then the second thing I would say is partnerships. So, you know, maybe you're a small business. I'll just make something up. Maybe you're a bakery and you want to do something special for an upcoming holiday. You know, you're only going to be able to make so much of an impact. But if you talk to your neighbors and you guys activate the entire, you know, block or sidewalk, you're going to automatically just make more of an impact. So that, I would say, you know, think about who you can partner with and what they can bring in, and things like that. And then I would say, think about what you can provide that's like not monetary or physical or tangible. Like, what can you provide? Can you provide like knowledge? Can you provide, you know, a fun experience? Can you provide some, you know, connections?
Food is the easy one.
Food is an easy one. Food is an easy one. I mean, you should always have food. You know, I really believe you should always have food at every single event. Because like most events are 2 hours long, and I eat every 2 hours.
I'm hungry as hell.
So I'm like, by the time, no matter what, I'm gonna be hungry at the end of your event, even if I ate right beforehand. Feed the people. Honestly, when I plan an event, like I make like different categories of like in my mind. So one of the categories is space. Like, what does the actual venue look like? One of the categories is audience. You know, how are we getting people to the space, and what are their expectations. Food is always its own category.
Yeah.
And I think people forget about food, but like you gotta at least have water like at an event. Don't be rude.
So 3 things, right?
Yeah.
We talked about it a little bit. You said the 5,000 person event. That's probably your most ambitious project, correct? And then your favorite event and a disaster event. You know, we have one where things just did not go your way, and you're like, damn, how did this happen?
I feel like the disasters events are the ones that don't happen. Yeah. Okay, my favorite event, that's a really good question. To be honest, my favorite events are the ones I can like repeat year after year and get better and better at it. You know, honestly, one of my favorite events was this event, Promument, which is a fundraiser for an arts organization that I've planned in the past. And the theme is prom. And, you know, I had done it 2 years in a row. And then the third time we did it at Bach. And it just was able, because I had already known what the client liked, I had that relationship with them, I was just able to really get my mind to think of really cool and creative ways to really build in that prom theme. So we had like a chalkboard artist, we had a boutonniere bar where folks were making like boutonnieres to pin on their clothing. So that was really awesome. So I've always liked when I can just repeat the event year after year and just feel like I'm getting better at it.
Yeah.
A disaster event. So actually the Promument event, one of the first times I planned it was very much a disaster because it was in an indoor-outdoor venue. And it was the middle of May, but we just had a terrible storm. And I was like anticipating rain, but I was not anticipating a storm. And it was during like COVID time, so people were like, you know, not trying to be inside. Course, yeah. So that was really tough because, you know, the space was great, the venue was great, and, you know, obviously it just was what it was. But what I didn't take into consideration was like the COVID-ness of it all, you know, and that's something hopefully we don't have to deal with as much. But, you know, we wanted an outdoor venue because of that, and maybe like it wasn't the right time to have an event at all. But, you know, that can be a hard thing to accept, you know, but yeah, maybe that would have done better. But either way, we had a good time. It's
you
just
learned
like
from it.
Yeah, and just some people were out in the rain, which it's not.
They'll be all
yeah,
right.
they'll be all right.
Yeah.
And we got a tent. It just blew away. So it just was like there was no way predicting it. Yeah.
So you've built a business and led organizations like University City Arts League. What's been the biggest lessons in leadership you've learned so far?
Okay, that's a good one. So the University City Arts League, the Arts League, I had the ability, right now I'm the chair of the board of the Arts League, and I was able to run the organization for a few months as the interim executive director, and that taught me a lot. And honestly, in a good way too, because I work a lot with nonprofits, and that experience taught me how to run a nonprofit and some of the, you know, challenges that they might have and some of the ways that I can, you know, better support them. So I guess the biggest learning lesson is that you can always learn. You can always look at things from a different perspective, and I'm able to be so much better of a business owner to my clients because I had that like random of experience of running their specific type of business. So I would say just try to always put yourself in your client's shoes and learn a little bit more about the business they do so you can learn how to better support them.
Are there certain industries that you typically like to work with or stay away from?
Stay away from. I think I'm not interested in fast fashion. I don't know, like things that like go against my values. So, I mean, you probably won't catch me learning, you know, doing anything for, I don't know, like the Defamation League. I don't know. Like you won't catch me doing anything for things that are outside of my value.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So, in terms of like the industries I like, I mean, I like to support people who look like me, you know, like even an arts and cultural organization, there are some who you look and they don't represent the demographics of Philadelphia. So that's not the type of organization I would like to work with. So I am really specific, but honestly, there's hundreds of businesses out there. There's a ton of companies out there. And when they come, they know that they want to work with me. So, you know, I'm cool to be specific.
You know, being a creative, that often comes with burnout, that like we all know. How do you balance running a business, producing events, and still making time to be your own creative? Because she does do a lot of content creation on Instagram where she shouts out other businesses, Black-owned businesses in the city. And, you know, they're fun to watch. So, you know, what do you do to, you know, make you less stressed?
So, yeah, it's hard to manage everything, honestly. And I just know there are seasons. So for instance, my winter season, I'm not doing a ton of events. So that's when I focus more on content creation. I do UGC as well. So that's when I really elevate that part of my business. But I know in the summer, I'm not going to be able to post multiple times a week. So, you know, I've just fully accepted that. And I know the ebbs and flows of my business now. So now I can just kind of, you know, not freak out that I'm not getting a ton of inquiries, you know, and not spend a ton of time freaking out, and instead bring that attention to, you know, things like content creation that do help my business. Maybe I don't see the ROI immediately, but, you know, they do end up helping my business just because of visibility.
Top of mind.
So it's just about accepting the phase that you're in.
You know, I understand that as well. Just like even right now, especially, it seems like a lot of things are kind of moving a little bit slower. So it's like you have more time to kind of take care and tackle all the things in the business that you didn't think that you had time to, especially in your, you know, busy seasons. So a lot of people watching this, they want to start their own creative business. Well, you know, they might feel stuck. So what was the biggest mind shift that you had to say, hey, you know, I might be able to do this and take this to the next level?
The biggest mind shift I would say that I had was just believing in myself. You know, I think growing up, I didn't know a lot of entrepreneurs, honestly. My dad was entrepreneurial in the sense that he always had like a hustle. He would flip houses or do things like, you know, like construction wise to like make additional income. But I didn't know anyone who was an entrepreneur until I like graduated college. And, you know, I just kind of looked at the people who were freelancing and things like that. And I said like, oh, they do it, I can do it. So just believing in yourself really makes a huge difference. And then also, honestly, getting organized. Like, you're not going to be taken seriously unless you take yourself seriously, until you take your business seriously. So get something like a CRM that, even if you don't use a CRM, but, you know, make sure that when you're onboarding people, it looks professional. You know, that you're not sending like inconsistent invoices. Make it easy for people to pay you. You know, make everything look professional and like you are a business. And don't do that, you know, when you get a client, because when you're not going to have time to do that when you get a client. Do that like before you get a client, or like when you're in between clients. Like, just tighten up your business and, you know, make it a good experience for your clients.
Do you have any tools, advice for somebody looking to get started? Any business tools that they can use for somebody in your...
Well, so I used, what is it, like Zoom Legal Zoom to make my LLC. I use HoneyBook to do anything from, you know, sending a proposal to invoicing to contracts. That's a good one actually. A lot of people work without contracts, and you should just have a standard contract for yourself. Like, I try to always send my contract versus using a client's contract, because the client's going to protect themselves, I'm going to protect myself. So make sure that you have a contract that protects you. Don't be afraid to change it all the time. And then, so I use HoneyBook for contracts, and then, Squarespace to make a website. Invest in your website, get a good website. To me, people always compliment me on my websites. I have 2 websites. So it's something that people notice, and just try to work on your business as much as you work in your business.
Yeah, and if you do need help with any of those, you can go on Fiverr and they can help you out because they have freelancers that can help you with logo creation, website creation, and anything that has to do with entrepreneurship as well.
Yeah.
So if money and logistics weren't an issue, what's the ultimate creative event or campaign you would love to produce?
Wow. I would love to produce something related to my culture. I'm Haitian.
Yeah.
So I want to do something, it's a really interesting time to be Haitian in the United States of America. There's a lot of conversation about Haitians, but not a lot of conversations including Haitians. So I would like to do something, a food-based event, because I think Haitians have like the best food. So that's something that comes to mind. And then I want to do more immersive experiences. It's funny because when,
where can I try Haitian food in Philadelphia? I don't think I've ever had, so.
Okay, there's not a ton of Haitian places. My mom's house is the best place to try Haitian food in Philadelphia.
Shout out your mother.
Yeah, shout out my mom. There's a restaurant called J&J Soul Food on 52nd Street. Okay. I've tried that. That's pretty good. Ghoul is another restaurant that you could try Haitian food. But, the best way is to just become friends with a Haitian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So immersive experience.
Yeah, and then I would love to make immersive experiences. And the funny part is, it's kind of like when I'm in between, like, I have heavy periods of work and then lighter periods of work. So honestly, I do be just like trying to create things on my own. Yeah. Like I'm doing an Haitian Flag Day event with my friend, and that's just for fun. Ooh. So, in a sense, like, yeah, obviously if money wasn't an issue, I wouldn't be here. Yeah. But like,
where would you be? Puerto Rico?
Anywhere. You wouldn't see me, you would just see me on Instagram. I would be going to, honestly, I need to follow your schedule. You be going to the best places, Vietnam, something like that. Yeah. But yeah, I think just do it even if money is an issue. So I just try to do it anyway,
Fun questions for you.
Okay.
So if you've worked with artists, brands, and creators, who's one dream collaborator you would like to work with?
That is a really great question. Who is a dream collaborator that I would like to work with? I don't really admire too many people, to be honest.
I feel the same way.
Yeah. I'm like, everybody has the ability to disappoint me. Yeah. But I'm reading this book called The Art of the Gathering that I really like, and it's by this author, Priya Parker. And I think her approach to gathering, and also she's like a consultant on gathering, and I think that's probably the direction I'd want to take my business in. Is I do consulting now, and I do community engagement consulting, but I would like to do more of that. So I would like to, I think it'd be cool to meet with her, talk to her, learn how she's run her business. So that's kind of who comes to mind right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you weren't in the creative space, what totally unexpected career would you be in?
That is a great question. If I wasn't in the creative space, I think I would be, well, this really might happen for me, but I would be a gym owner.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, I would own a gym.
What specifically? Like, what's your favorite sport?
So I love like studio stuff. Well, right
like
now,
Pilates.
Yeah, but I really am into weightlifting too. Okay. And I think I do like this like quick weightlifting class called like Body Pump, and it's pretty intense. I think there needs to be more like weightlifting type studio classes. But yeah, my fiance's into like Muay Thai, MMA, BJJ type stuff. So it would be a combination of like a lifting studio, MMA, fighting gym.
Yeah. Oh, dope.
Yeah.
You get a free billboard in the middle of Philly. What does it say?
Ooh. I mean, it would just have to be, I would have to promote my business if I had a free billboard in the middle of Philly. I just want to, like, it would definitely lead to my website. And then it would probably say something like, thinking beyond What's Standard by Kontan.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Is that your mission statement? Or
no, just some like what would get people to click? I don't know.
I got you.
I want to think of something.
What is your mission? What is the mission statement?
The mission statement is we empower change makers to do what they do best.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dope. So for anyone trying to grow their brand, whether it's through events, content, or digital marketing, what's one thing they should focus on first?
If anyone's trying to grow their brand, they should focus on being authentic and really doing the internal work to figure out what matters the most to them. Because I think that you need to be able to clearly communicate that work in order for people to understand what you're about. If you don't tell people what you're about, they'll never know. So, and if you don't know yourself, then you know what's gonna happen there. Yeah.
Deb, thank you.
Yes.
Where can people connect with you, support your work, and learn more about Kontan Cultural Strategies?
Okay, amazing. So you can connect with me on Instagram is one of the best ways. I'm Debonair with a 0, so DEB0 NAIR. And you can also connect with my business online. So you can find us on LinkedIn, Kontan Cultural Strategies, or just come visit our website if you want to learn more about the projects we have. That's bykontan.com. BYKONTAN.com.
Amazing. So if you got value from this episode, make sure you hit the like button, drop a comment with your biggest takeaway, and make sure you subscribe and more deep dives on entrepreneurs just like her. Until next time, thank you again, Mejire Arijaje on Beyond the Brand.